Hi, welcome to the training webinar for this week. I'm Dale Franks, and this week we start a series, a 3-week series of unrelated webinars, but all new topics, all of which were suggested by Dan Kruger, who happens to be in the audience with us today. Hello, Dan. Thanks for the suggestions. And so today, I have what may be an overly ambitious plan to talk about the documentation and how it works and how to use it, debug mode, and using tech support. So 3 topics, all of which could take some time, and hopefully I can get through all of this in the next 2 hours. But with that said, let's go ahead and share my screen and start looking. That is not good. I need a bigger screen to fill the share space. So there we go. And that's the documentation. This is the BP Logix documentation website. We're going to start with documentation and how to use it. Our URL is doc.bplogix.com in case you didn't know it, and all of our product documentation is here. A couple of notes about the documentation itself. It is reference documentation. It's not how-to doc. I have a couple of things here and there about how to do some simple things, but at the end of the day, Process Director is a platform, which means that you can do pretty much anything that you want to do. It's not really possible for us to cover in the documentation itself all of the many things that you can do with the product. So it's reference documentation. We can tell you what settings exist and what those settings mean, and some of the implications for turning those settings on and off, and when you might want to, but we don't really have a lot of how-to stuff in the documentation. It is all reference documentation. What we do have in terms of how-to stuff is the training that you can find on training.bplogix.com. Many of you who've been around for a while used the old training site on Litmos. It still exists. We're not bringing new people onto it. But much of the how do I do stuff, how do I build stuff, is incorporated into the core, intermediate, and advanced training courses that you can find on Reach. In fact, while we're talking about Reach, why don't we go ahead and take a look at it? Again, it's training.bplogix.com, and obviously I've got to log in here. Half the time it knows who I am and it logs me straight in, and the other half of the time it doesn't. So this is what you'll see in the training. It looks very similar to the Litmos platform that we were using previously, but everything kind of works the same way. There are learning paths, there are courses. You can self-sign up for any course that you want or any learning path that you want. But this is where the how-to stuff is found. It's all in training. How to do stuff is a training issue, not a documentation issue, and therefore the documentation simply doesn't cover it, whereas the training does. So moving around in the documentation, there is a navigation menu at the top of the page. Now, the documentation is split up into several subject areas. Each subject area has its own book, I guess, and each book covers a specific area. Now, using the doc is its own little book, and much of the information, in fact, all of the information that I'm going to cover today is actually found in this using the doc section. Implementation covers several different things. There is a getting started guide, which is sort of a general quick start guide with some links to important stuff. There is the implementation guide, which covers Process Director itself, the UL, the UI, the objects, things like that. There's a system variables guide that covers all of the system variables in the system. Custom tasks obviously covers all of the custom tasks. There is a special section for the advanced reporting component by itself. And then there's a little book for configuring OAuth for Azure, which is probably going to change to just configuring OAuth because we are adding Google OAuth to the product, as I talked about on the first Tuesday of this month, or second Tuesday of this month, I guess, whenever we did the Spotlight webinar. So that will probably change. Administration covers the System Administrator's Guide, which basically goes end to end everything that is in the IT admin area, as well as some extra best practices for administrators, securing Process Director, and so forth. There's the installation guide, which most of you as cloud customers will never look at or need to look at. That's really for on-premise customers. The scheduler module, it exists. It's still there. If you have an old version of the product, it's probably still useful. Although I have to say that goals have largely deprecated the scheduler module. And I have configuring Azure OAuth here. So there are separate. I don't know why I put it in both places. I'm going to remove it from one. I'll probably stick it in implementation rather than administration, but that's the same topic. I seem to have added it to two different places in the big table of contents. The development covers the database reference, which covers the Process Director database, the database structure and schema, and all of the table definitions, as well as some of the pre-built views that we provide you. And the development and SDK guide covers, those of you who have the SDK, covers how to use Process Director programmatically, but for everyone, it also covers all of the custom variables that are available to you in the product. So while about half of the developer's guide is only going to be relevant to you if you have the SDK, the other half of it, which covers all of the custom variables, is very useful to everybody. Whenever we open up any of these topics, so we'll start off with implementation, and this will take us directly to the book that contains the implementer's guide. When you open up one of these pages, on the upper right-hand corner of the page, there is a dynamic table of contents that will appear. And as you click on items in the table of contents and go deeper and deeper into it, this table of contents will dynamically change. We'll go to Process Director Objects for the moment. To show you, up at the very top of the page, there are breadcrumbs. So you can always navigate backwards from where you are simply by clicking on the appropriate breadcrumb. So if I want to go back up to implementation, I can just click the link to implementation. Now, each of these tables of contents that we see here on the side, where possible, I have replicated the UI of the product. So let me kind of show you what I mean. If we go into Process Director and I pop open the training server. So give me a second here to get in here. Let me go to the content list and let me just pop open a folder. So we'll open the support folder. So your create new dropdown that appears up here, and this is the dropdown that you'll use to create all of the objects in Process Director, and it lists them all right here. What I've done in the table of contents that you see over here on the side is I've replicated that so that you can sort of follow through what the UI shows you. Similarly, if we look at the System Administrator's Guide, and we go here to IT admin area. Well, it's split up into configuration, user administration, installation settings, and troubleshooting. And of course, if we go into IT admin, well, we'll just go into any one of them. You can see at the top, you have four major areas: configuration, user administration, etc. So if we go into configuration, then I get workspaces, partitions, global knowledge views, object permissions, which are the same buttons that we see here. So again, trying to replicate the UI of the product to the extent we can in the table of contents. Now, an example of things that we can't do whenever we do that in system administration, well, there's common admin actions. There are miscellaneous administration notes. There's metadata administration. Metadata administration is part of the administrative console, although it is separate, and you can be a metadata administrator without being a system administrator who has access to the IT admin. So it's off there separately. But to the extent we can, we follow the UI of the product where we can. Obviously, for some of the documentation, if we go into the database reference or the developer's guide, there's no UI for that. So the way that it is set up is a little misleading. Now, every time that you open up any of these documents, on the first page, when you open up, say, the System Administrator Guide, or you open up the Implementer's Guide, or whatever it is, at the very top of the page, there is a link to a PDF version of that guide. So you can, and I'm not going to download the Implementer's Reference Guide because it's 900 pages long and I don't want to. So let's go to Custom Tasks because we can download that real quick. So we'll go to the Custom Task Reference Guide and we can download that Custom Task Reference Guide. Now, as you can see, I last updated this particular guide on the 18th, which brings us up to an interesting issue. It is useful to have these PDFs. And in fact, we have people here at BP Logix that use these PDFs rather than use the online documentation. And you're perfectly free to do that. I guess it's fine, except, of course, for that. The documentation is fairly regularly updated. And in fact, if you look at the homepage of the documentation, let's go back there real quick, you can actually see when the last time the documentation was updated. Now, when I update the website, all of the documentation all gets updated at the same time. It takes me about 20 minutes to publish all of the documentation for the website. However, each of those individual PDFs are also updated. So I believe I updated the Implementer's Guide and System Administrator's Guide yesterday. I found a couple little typos that I fixed, and so I fixed them there. But if you download the PDFs, as great as they are, they're probably going to get outdated pretty quick. So that's just a warning that you should keep in mind when it comes to the documentation. Another thing to keep in mind, since we're talking about the last documentation update, I do have a changelog page, which is linked here on the home page, which you can open up, and you can see all of the major times that I updated the documentation. I mean, like I find typos here and there, or I see phrasing that I don't like anymore, so I'll slightly rephrase something because I think it may make it a little bit clearer. So I'm regularly doing little tweaks in the documentation, but anytime I make a change to a topic, certainly any sort of significant change, it all gets logged here. As you can see, the last significant change was on 18 October when I added a new topic to the System Administrator's Guide called Live Stats. It's a new feature that's coming in 6.1.300. I've already added it to the documentation. Before I had to take over tech support, the rate of change in the documentation was a lot higher. I'm probably going to be moving away from tech support as we have several new implementers. They're coming up to speed. Probably we're going to move tech support away from me back towards the other implementers on a more round robin basis for them. And then I'll probably go back to what it was like first half of last year when I made changes a lot in the documentation. So we're heading back, I think, to that to be able to do a lot of changes to the documentation. So it's constantly being looked at, constantly under revision. So while those PDFs are fine, just keep in mind that they'll probably be revised into at least a minor level of irrelevance in the fullness of time. So let's talk about the search bar. At the top of every page, there's a search bar. It looks a little prettier on the home page, but it's the same search bar and it works the same way. This ain't Google. So you cannot just type in some sort of airy fairy query and have it automatically know what you're talking about, because that's not what it does. This is a search feature that is built into the documentation system that we use, which is provided by Madcap Software. It's called Madcap Flare. And it searches for the actual words that you use. Now, that can cause a problem. You can't just do a search for the thing that models processes, because what it will look for are the words the, thing, that, models, and processes, and it will try to find a document that contains every single one of those words. So it searches for specific key terms. You're much better off searching for process timeline or timeline. Well, if you search for timeline, you're going to get a lot of results, but it's only going to find that specific thing that you enter. So if I type in timeline, and I really do have to watch the clock on this because I have a very ambitious plan for today, and I got to be sure I don't blow through my time too quickly. So if I go to timeline, okay, well, there's a topic on timeline itself. And so this is the main timeline topic. So that's probably one that you want, but I've also got process timelines, timeline activity system variables, WS timeline. That's from the developer's guide. That's a web service, one of the SOAP web services. The project process timeline class. Okay, that's the developer's guide as well. Then I've got process timeline activities, managing instances. If I open any of these, you will note that because we did search for the word timeline, that is the word that gets highlighted. Now, I can go back and research, and I can go process timeline. And again, that's going to take me back to the process timeline page. So that's good. If I open up anything, now we can see that there are two words highlighted, and they're highlighted in different colors. Because what the search feature is looking for is process and the word timeline. Now, I can make this a little bit easier to use. I can just look for, because it's going to show me everything that says process and everything that says timeline. Now, okay, so here we go. Timeline instance after process completes. Okay, this is a valid search result. Now, it says process timeline everywhere, so fine. But in actuality, it is searching for both the words process and the word timeline. So it's looking for any topic that uses those two words. So if the topic just said this, even though I searched for process timeline, this is a valid search result because it contains both the word process and the word timeline, not even in the correct order. They simply exist. So I do have the ability to use quotation marks and use process timeline. Now, this is probably not going to change too much in terms of the search results because we use the word process timeline all over the place. So it is going to be, in this particular case, it's not going to be great. Let's try a different term that isn't used all over the place in the product. Let's try case definition. Okay, so now it is searching for case definition itself. Obviously, it's going to give me the case definition topic, case management system variables, but It's not really going to give me much outside of case, but it is going to give me everything that says case definition. And notice that case definition is now a single highlighted term because I used it inside quotation marks. There are a number of other search operators that we can use, and in the interest of time, I'm going to show them to you, but we're not going to do a whole bunch with them. But we are going to go into the documentation itself. We are going to look under searching. And in searching, it sort of tells you how the search bar works, which we're also going to cover. But under search operators, there are a couple of things that you can use. There is the and, the or, the not, the parentheses. There are also some, I guess they're not wild card characters, but there are some little symbols like the caret symbol or the exclamation point, which allows us to make more complex search terms. So if I was to search for, and then there are parentheses, which group some search terms. So let's take a look at this term right here. So this will search for either the word form or the word controls, and it will find the word timeline, but it will exclude any topic that uses the word variables. So if we type that in, and you don't know what all of these topics are, so you're just going to have to take my word for it, that's going to work. And it's going to give me stuff that uses the word form, controls, or timeline, but not the word variables. So if I go down here, there's one thing that is missing are any of the system variable topics. And there are a bunch of system variables for forms and for timelines. And yet they're not showing up here. And the reason they're not showing up here is because all of them use the word variable. So therefore, those have been excluded from the search. So you can actually do some fairly sophisticated searching inside the system by using these search operators. The and operator is generally unnecessary. If you just type in two words and don't put them in quote, the and is assumed. Technically, you could put an ampersand between the words, but even if you don't, Process Director will assume that you did. And thus, if you type in process and timeline and don't put them in quotes, it's going to treat them as two separate words, and it's going to use the and search operator to find everything. So while it is not an intelligent search feature, it is a relatively sophisticated one in that if you are willing to use the appropriate search operators, you can winnow down the type of results that you get. Another way of winnowing down the results that you get in a search are by using the filters that exist here. By default, Process Director will return everything, right? So let's use the term form, which is a very widely used term in the documentation. So we're getting stuff from everywhere. The form topic, that's Implementer's Guide. The form class, System Variables Guide. Developer's Guide, WS Form. In fact, if I was to go down through here, I'm sure I would find from the Database Guide the table form topic as well. But as you can see, if we look at the bottom, this is returning me 10 pages worth of search results. That's way more than I want to winnow through. So what the filters allow me to do is to go through and find specific topics and just return items on those topics. So let's say I just want to know about the form itself. I would just click Forms. Now I'm down to 2 pages. Obviously, forms are mentioned a lot. So there are many topics about forms. There's the online form designer, form configuration tabs, forms as email templates. So I'm going to get a lot of results returned from there, but I'm only going to get 2 pages of results. They're 2 long pages, but they're 2 pages. Let's say I only want to know about form controls. Well, now I'm down to just a single page because now, while it is still searching for the word form, it is now only pulling topics that relate to form controls themselves. That gives me a much smaller universe of search results that I can look through. And if I go to database, I get an even smaller group. Obviously, there's the form data view SQL tab, and then the word form is used in the table definitions, relationships, internal database views, and audit logging as well, I guess, for the database guide. So now I'm down to 6 results because I'm only finding the database-based topic. You can always turn this off simply by going back and selecting all files, and it will return us back to all files. So Q&A. For those of us on Litmos, what does the process look like to get access to the newer training platform? Okay. So if you're on Litmos, you're good until May of 2025. So there's no pressing need to make the switch now. If you want to make the switch, the process is similar to what it was on Litmos. We provide you with a self-sign-up URL, and you can sign up. Unlike Litmos, we don't need to provide you with a login code to get you access. So if you contact your BP Logix account representative, they have the appropriate URL to point you to the correct login so that you can self-sign up, provision your own account, and it will just automatically assign you to the process director training, I think probably for the vast majority of you, probably for all of you who are here since you're all platform customers. It'll just give you access to the process director training. Other than that, it's a very similar process to Litmos. I've tried to replicate it as exactly as I could. You get the URL, you create your account, you sign in, you're automatically assigned the Using Reach training course, just as you were assigned the Using Litmos training course. The Using Reach training course walks you through the UI, how it works, tells you what learning paths are available. And once you finish that course, you are perfectly free to open up any of the learning paths and assign that learning path to you, which will assign all the courses to you, or just take courses a la carte as you want. And you can just find them all in Reach. So it's very simple. You don't need login codes. That login code thing that Litmos uses is worthless. I can't track by login code. All the login code literally does is provide you access and limits the number of people that can access the system, but it doesn't put you in any sort of group. It doesn't classify you, by the organization that you belong to. It's like an additional irksome step that we have to go through to give you access to the training system. We no longer have to go through that step. The only difference in Reach and Litmos is that in Litmos, I think only the core, intermediate, and advanced, and I could be wrong, but I think actually, you know what? I'm not even sure we did it there. All the Litmos courses may show the version 5 UI. I know the vast majority of them do. All of the updates to the training, since we are going to be moving away from Litmos, we got to stick with them until next May because we had a 3-year contract with them. They were charging us double, all kinds of problems going on with Litmos, and we are leaving them for Reach. Reach is run by Articulate. They're the people who actually provide the software that I use to create the training. All of the courses, well, 2 of them aren't because I'm still working on them and it's taking me a while because I have some other priorities that are intervening, but all of the courses except for 2 have all been upgraded on Reach to the new version 6.1 UI. So basically, Litmos is sort of legacy training at this point. Reach is the new training. If you're still using version 5, no reason to switch over from Litmos to Reach. Like I said, Litmos is still going to be good until May, so you've got another 7 months of use off of Litmos before it gets shut off. But if you want access to Reach, just ask your account representative, and they'll do that. Has the documentation been scanned / imported into Google itself or other search engines? We certainly haven't done that. However, I mean, it is a live public website, so I'm pretty sure that it's been rather thoroughly crawled by Google at this point. And I do know that some users, when they want to do Google searches rather than use the built-in search, they'll actually just search our domain, doc.bplogix.com, with their sort of Google-fied query, and they'll get that answer off of Google. Have we submitted a sitemap or anything like that to Google? No, we haven't. There are reasons for that, but there are reasons that I'm not going to go into. I mean, technically, I could incorporate a Google search into this documentation. The decision has been made not to do that for a variety of reasons that actually do make sense, but they're business-related reasons, which, again, I'm not going to share with you, but that's just the internal determination that we've made. What, 10:31? Okay, I think I'm doing okay on time. And I think those are all the questions, right? Uh-oh, I stopped sharing. That's not what I wanted to do. I was trying to access the toolbar, and it got me to stop sharing. So no other Q&A. Good. At the bottom of every documentation page, every single one, there is a documentation feedback and questions. This is specifically for documentation. This is not some sort of backdoor into asking technical support questions. This is because you've seen something in the documentation that's wrong, or that there's a typo, or that you feel something is missing, or that you don't understand an explanation, you don't feel that the explanation is written clearly. This is where you put in that feedback. This is specific to the documentation. There's a button at the bottom of the section that, when clicked, opens up a process director form that is publicly available. Please enter your email address so that we know who you are. You don't have to, but if you don't, you'll never receive a reply. So if you want to reply, strongly suggest that you enter an email address. There is a single question about whether the documentation topic was helpful, and then you can enter your feedback in a free text box. Do all that and then just hit submit. It's real simple to submit. It is a process director form, so it actually does have a process that's associated with it. And as part of that process, I receive a direct email containing the contents of your feedback. Those of you who have supplied feedback know that I'm pretty good about responding to the feedback and letting you know that the topic has been updated, or letting you know whatever the disposition of your feedback was. It may just be something that's too difficult for me to do, and a quick and dirty change. So I may just tell you thanks for your feedback. We'll incorporate that. But I generally do get back to everybody. It doesn't just go to me; it goes to a couple of other people as well. But it does go to me. It's primarily documentation, my responsibility. So I generally answer all of the documentation feedback. So it's a great little feature, and it allows you to talk, essentially directly to me with your documentation feedback. Finally, in documentation, there is the AI chat box. Again, on the bottom right of every page, there is this tiny little BP icon. As you can see, it doesn't go anywhere. It just gets stuck down there at the bottom of the page, wherever the bottom of the page is in your viewport. And you click on that, and it opens up a little chat box that you can ask questions about Process Director. This says powered by customgpt.ai. That just happens to be the implementation of ChatGPT that we use. You can enter sort of plain language questions, and the LLM ChatGPT has been trained on all of the contents of the online documentation, although that's a problem. We'll get back to that in a second. It's also been trained on the transcripts of many training webinars. So that is great. So if I was to ask a question, I can't think of a question right off the top of my mind. What is the use of the set form data tab on a form definition? Now, please note, this is a pretty specific question. There's a reason for that, which we'll also talk about in just a second. Oh, well, that's not good. You've exhausted your current query credits. That means that a lot of people have been banging on the chatbot for this month, and it is the 31st, so we are out of query credits. That was not what I expected to happen. So let me go offline here because I'm going to have to log in. And I am going to go to Custom GPT because I did want to actually show you something. And it's going to be hard to do since I can't ask it apparently today in the actual app itself. So let me go to projects here. Sorry, I'm not showing you quite yet, but now I can show you. So let's bring this back up here. So I actually have access to everything that everybody asks. So I can actually look at everybody's queries, or at least I could prior to running out of queries. Is it not even going to show me the query? By the way, you can ask in other languages too. Our Japanese partner asks in Japanese. Okay, so I guess it's not even going to let me look at the queries. And it looks like a lot of these queries are being generated by our Japanese partner. Okay, so I'm not sure why that's not showing up, but that is. So we can ask a conversational question, but it has to be a pretty specific question. Your query language that you use here is important. Okay. Well, if you ask in Japanese, it will answer in Japanese. So can you better describe how layout controls would fix my formatting? Well, that's a how-to question. It may or may not be able to provide you with a how-to. Set up a goal in Process Director to run a knowledge view. Okay, well, in that case, I can get a pretty good answer out of that. Okay, but some questions, if you ask, it won't know because it either hasn't been trained on it or it has no idea what you're asking. So the query that you use is important. Wow. Our Japanese partner is burning through a lot of AI queries. Oh, okay. Well, thank you. Ask the question in English and then ask for a response in Japanese. What is timeline? Okay, great. I guess that works. You can ask that question. I was actually looking for a bad query, but it looks like our Japanese partner is burning all of our, and we get like 500 queries a month, and it looks like they're burning the majority of them. Okay, so here we go. Have information about JPubs. I don't even know what that means. Does it mean that you have information about JPubs? JPubs is an application that we build for one of our customers. It is not covered in the documentation, and the documentation tells you that. How to set custom event in a field. Okay, great. We can talk about how we create an event field. There are some problems with AI. The first problem is that AI doesn't exist. There's no thinking going on here. This is a large language model, and it's going to do large language model things, which means it's going to string words together that make sense. Most of the time, the words that it strings together do make sense, and they are correct. Sometimes they are not correct, and it tells you to do wrong things. Again, AI doesn't exist. This is just a large language model that is trying to piece together a little essay for you that seems relevant to what you asked it. It doesn't know how the product works. It can't think about the product. The other problem is that once I have trained this AI model on the product, if I were to say, completely change the UI of the product, I can't untrain it on all of the things that it was previously trained on. It now knows that information. The information has now been superseded. It's not the same. So if I ask about how I access a particular workspace, there's an excellent chance it's going to tell me to click the workspace tab at the bottom of the screen. Well, if you're on version 6.1, there is no workspace tab at the top of the screen. There are no workspace tabs at all. There are no tabs, but it's still going to tell you that because that was what it was trained on, because we've had it in here for quite a while. The only way that we could untrain this would be to basically delete this entire project and then re-upload the entire sitemap, and then individually upload another. Well, I wouldn't have to do it individually. I could upload a RSS sitemap feed of the location of all of the videos, the training videos that have transcripts. I'd have to retrain it on those things. So we'd have to just tear it up. We'd have to just throw what we have away, and we have to rebuild it from scratch. So because it's an LLM, because artificial intelligence doesn't exist, you have to be careful about two things. A, it doesn't really understand what you're asking, which means that you have to ask your question with enough specificity that it points to specific topics that are relevant to what you're asking. So I've had people just go in and just type in, process timeline. Okay, sure. It's going to tell you something about process timelines. Is it going to tell you what you want to know? Probably not. That's just too generic of a query for it to make any sense. Something else that may happen. You're going to ask it about a specific feature, and you're going to get an answer about that feature, but the answer is going to be referenced from the developer's guide, because there is a programmatic way to implement that feature in the developer's guide. Via a custom variable, for example. And what it won't tell you is how you can do it in the UI, even though it exists in the installation settings page, say, of IT admin. It'll just skip through that, and it'll tell you, oh, yes, you need to set this custom variable. Technically, you could set that custom variable. I mean, technically, it's a correct answer. It ain't the answer you're looking for, because all you want to do is open up installation settings and change a property on installation settings. So there's correct, and then there's correct and what you want. And the LLM model doesn't really know what you want, because it can't think. It's just stringing words together. And so it may give you answers that, while technically correct, are just extraordinarily unhelpful. These are just limitations of AI as it currently exists. I know we're in the middle of an AI hype cycle and AI is going to change the world. Yeah, maybe, but at the moment it's not in a world-changing state. At the moment it's in an interesting experimental state, and there are things that it does that are helpful. And look, this is helpful because when it gives you the right answer, you ask it the right question and it gives you the answer. Sometimes that answer is fantastic. And it's a better answer than you could have gotten if you tried to manually search through the document. It is a shortcut, but don't pretend it's a panacea. It is a large language model. The limitations that exist in large language models still exist, and they exist in this model as well. So just keep that in mind as far as the documentation. All right, that's 45 minutes of documentation. I went 5 minutes over, but other than that, I think I'm doing pretty good. So let's move away from documentation and let's talk about troubleshooting and technical support. Now, we're going to cover really just sort of one thing in troubleshooting, but it's a super important thing to do. And I'm actually going to have to open up two servers because we're going to have to approach this in two different ways. So I'm going to open up a version 6.1 server, pop that open there, and then I'm going to open up a 5.44 version and open it up there because I know several of you are still on 5.44. I do not want to be in that workspace. I want to be in the admin profile workspace. There we go. So great. I've opened up Process Director, either 6 or 5, and there is a mode in Process Director called Debug Mode. Debug Mode is very useful if you are an admin because it does a variety of useful things. To turn on debug mode, it's turned off by default. And the reason it's turned off by default is because it is excruciatingly irritating to use the product when it's turned on. Sure, at first it seems cool, but then it just gets progressively more irksome. So it is turn on and offable. And the way we turn it on in 6 is we just go to our user profile menu and it should say debug mode is off, and we can turn debug mode on. In version 5, you need to place your cursor up here on the tab bar, which still does exist, and you need to right click your mouse inside the tab bar. And when you do, it will tell you that it is turning debug mode on. Now, we don't see any change yet because we haven't refreshed the page or anything, but now that debug mode is on, we're going to see something a bit different. Now, if you don't mind, I'm just going to go back to version 6 to play around with it there, because at this point, everything in debug mode is pretty much the same. So let's go into the support folder. So some things are happening here. First of all, for each item here, I have got a link to that item. And so that link takes me right to, in this case, my folder properties. So that was a folder that was showing up. It goes to my folder properties. Everything has a link. Well, they're all folders. Let's go into here. Well, I don't want to go into there. I might as well. None of you will know what it means unless you speak Japanese. So if I click on the link here, it will just take me straight into the form controls for this particular form. As you can see, this is in Japanese. It's from our Japanese partner. I don't know what it means either. It's just a little part of an application. In any event, if we look over in the name tab hasn't changed much, but if we look over in the author tab, it's going to give me my user ID and my UID. All of the dates are going to be explicit dates with the exact timestamp that this object was created, and the exact timestamp down to the millisecond that, at least according to the server's time, that this object was updated. So It's going to give me a lot more information about that. It's also going to give me more information when I start opening items. Let's get out of support. Let's go into documentation and training. Let's take a look at a timeline. We can close the options section. We don't need that. But now if we look at the timeline, at the very top of the timeline, it's going to give me now it's not going to show me anything here because this is just a sample timeline that's never run. And when it does run, it only ends the activity. Clearly, this is a test timeline. However, it'll give me the number of times that it's run and its different iterations. It's also going to give me the average seconds that it runs. And then it's going to give me the projection of how long it's going to run in the future for each of my process timelines. So it gives me just some extra debug information about how the timeline works. So if you look at timeline instances, on the other hand, and I shouldn't have any active timelines, I do have one inactive one. However, we'll go to the properties here on this inactive timeline, and I don't particularly like this one. Let's actually find one that actually has some meat to it. So let me go into the archive for the training webinar. Let's go to my Advanced Design Concepts application. And let's look at the timeline for that. So we'll go here, timeline. Do I have any active? I don't have any active. I should have several completed. However, I have many completed. So now we can go and we can look at the properties of this particular timeline. So in my routing slip, as soon as I open up the timeline instance, I get all of that extra information with all of these user UIDs and all of the result IDs, the task instance ID. I'm sorry, this is the task user instance ID. This is the task instance ID. It's going to give me all of this extra debug data. Also at the very top, it's going to show me what my process instance ID is. Or I'm sorry, my process ID is, my process instance ID. Going to give me a lot of extra debug information. And by the way, if I have this, like my process ID, and I search on the content list, it's going to find my process because I can use the GUID for the process, the ID. I can do a search by object IDs in the system. That's just a extra cool little thing, but I do find it useful. And so when I'm in debug mode, I can grab all of these IDs and it's just going to show me all of that information. And it's going to be the same, by the way, if we go into activity properties. So if I open up an activity here and I go into, let's go into supervisor approval. Just looking at the rollover, you can see it's giving me all of those GUIDs. It's giving me all timestamps down to the microsecond on everything. If I open up the properties for this activity, once again, it's going to give me all of these activity IDs, activity instance ID. It's just giving me a lot of information about the activities themselves. For forms, what debug mode gives me is one very important thing that I can do on the form controls tab. Sometimes you have a form, it's been running for a while, and you decide that you want to edit it. So you'll go in, you'll edit the form, you'll add a couple of new fields. Now that's great. And every time that someone fills out that form from now on, they'll be able to fill out those fields. We like that. That's cool. However, all of our old instances don't have any of that data. Those fields didn't exist for that form instance when it was created. So therefore, even though the fields now exist, the values in those old form instances will be null. So what debug mode allows me to do when it's turned on is come to the form controls tab and let me find an old form instance. These are all dates, which I don't really care about. Submitter, time off days. Okay, I'll just fix that. So I have some old instances that did not have time off days on those old instances. Okay, so let's say I wanted to put in a default value for those old instances. At the very top, there is a screen that will allow me to put in a default value. So if I say I want 4 as my default value for updating old instances, and I scroll all the way down here to time off days, which is just a text box, I can update old instances. It will say, are you sure you want to do this? Because now this control exists and you said you wanted 4 as the value. I'm going to go in and I'm going to find all of those old instances and I'm going to update all of those old fields to 4. And if you really want that to happen, you'll hit OK. And the Spinny will run. And now it will tell you that it added all form instances created before this control was added. So all of my old form instances that I made before this control existed now say 4 in their control, their control value. That field value is now stored, and I can open those old forms up and I can see that value. That's really the important thing that debug mode does in terms of form definitions. In terms of form instances, it gets even more useful. Now, you don't see this on your form instances if you're not in debug mode. It's hidden from you. But if you are in debug mode and you go to the properties of an old form instance, you can edit all of the old form fields. So let's find a justification. Great. I left justification empty on this particular one. This is request number 2. So this was probably a test that I just went through and I didn't put in a justification. Well, now as an administrator, I realize this justification is missing. I need to fix it. So if I'm in debug mode, I can open up the properties tab of a form instance, and right at the very end, there is an edit button. And now I can go in and just put in, since this is a time off request, I believe, I'm super tired. Super tireds? Yeah, see how tired I am? I can't even spell tired. Once I have changed it, I can click update, and that will update my value. And my justification for this leave request is now I'm super tired. And if I open up this leave form, which will take a second or two because it's going to have to compile the form before it shows it to us. But it will eventually show it to us sooner or later. While we're waiting for it to show up, wait, there it comes. All right, fine. There's my request time, paid time off, and there's my justification. I'm super tired. So I can do that editing as an administrator right on the back end. The other thing that is important and that will help you in debugging, and this comes up a lot, it's because some of our error messages are not super friendly, and our error message will tell you, hey, there is some sort of problem with this form control that has the form control ID of, whatever. And it gives you the form control ID, which is a GUID, so it's super unhelpful. In debug mode, I take that error message, copy it, and I copy that form control ID. If I open up the form instance where that error is occurring and I want to know what that form control is, the form control ID is displayed as a column in debug mode. So I can just simply Control F to do a search. And well, you can't see my Control F because it's way up here at the very top. But I can do a Control F and I can search for that control ID from the error message. It will tell me what it is. Let's say it's the request type dropdown. Something wrong with that. It's not displaying my options or whatever or it's supposed to display or not display based on a condition, and the condition is all messed up. Okay, fine. As long as I know what that form control ID is, I now know that it is this control. Now, being in the form instance probably is not going to help me a lot, but I can click the view form definition button, and now I can go and find that particular field, which was request type right here. I have this drop down, which also, by the way, this also tells me the form control ID. So I guess I could just go straight here and search here as well. But at least now I can open up this field's properties, and I can see what's going on with that particular field. And I can, change the link to the drop-down object or attributes or whatever else I need to do. I can go ahead and make those changes, whatever may be that I need to do. I will also point out that as you are using things like the choose system variable dialog box, or in this case, the system variable dropdown, I'm also going to get all of the IDs as GUIDs for things like, in this case, these are case properties. So these are all of the case property IDs for all of these different cases. So it's showing me a lot about the inside of the system. But just on a day-to-day basis, running through the content list, it does get a little irksome to see everything like that, especially if you want to, make your screen a little bit smaller. Like I said, it's irksome to use. When you turn it off, of course, it hides all of this functionality that we've been talking about. The other thing that debug mode does, if we go into troubleshooting and we go to the server control page, there are a lot more links here and a lot more things that we can do here than you'd normally see whenever you open up this page. There are several important diagnostic and control links that are only available to you when you have debug mode turned on. So if I turn debug mode off and I refresh this page, all right, let me go to system information, then let me come back to server control. There we go. Now I've got a much smaller number of diagnostic and control links that I can run on this system. One of the control links that you may use for troubleshooting, and it's hidden in debug mode, so we're going to have to go back into debug mode, is this thing way down here at the bottom. If you have a process ID, a process definition ID, and you place it into that box, and then click this control link, which is a very long and verbose control link, so much so that it breaks format with all the other ones. That's why it's down here at the bottom. Also, it's at the bottom because we're hidden it in debug mode. I can restart everything that is in error for that process instance ID. Now, any running users are going to be canceled. If it restarts and reassigns those users, they're going to get all of their, email notifications and stuff again. I mean, it is going to restart everything. However, if you have processes in errors and you have the process ID, which you would get from debug mode, then you can go here to the server control page, copy that process ID, drop it in here, and then you can click this link and it will just restart all of the running step and activity instances. And it will restart all activity instances in error. And basically it's a fresh restart for everything. Just remember, anything that's running that uses that process ID, so anything under that timeline definition, it's all going to get restarted. And so you may confuse your users and you may blow up some current due dates and things like that because you're getting everybody a fresh start. So be careful, but you can do that right from debug mode. That's hidden there. There is also the ability to just delete some old data. So you can have some deleted form instances, and the audit data for that is still being maintained, especially if you have, the audit logs in the database. So you can click that and just delete that old form audit data for all of those form instances that you've deleted. There's a couple of kind of tricky things that you can do in here that are all hidden in debug mode. But debug mode is a useful mode on the system and gives you the ability to go in and kind of see a little bit of the behind the scenes complexity that we usually hide from you. However, that's pretty much it for debug mode. That is the useful stuff it does. Doesn't look like anybody has any questions, so let's move on. And so we can turn off the legacy testing thing now. Now we can go to Zendesk. Let's talk about tech support. This is the BP Logix technical support portal. It is Zendesk. We did use Process Director to do tech support for a long time. There were a lot of improvements that we wanted to do, but just constraints on the number of personnel available who could rebuild Zendesk from scratch in Process Director prevented us from doing that. So we ended up buying Zendesk. And so now it is our support portal, and this is where you go to submit all of your support tickets. So much of what goes on in the support portal is hidden from you unless you are logged in. So we're going to assume that you're logged into the support portal when you're looking at it. If you are, you'll see everything that I'm about to show you. If not, you won't see it because it'll be hidden from you and you'll need to log in to see it. Primarily, you need to log in to submit a support ticket. So 2 ways of doing it. They both take you to the same place. Right up here at the very top, there is submit a request, that link at the top of the page. And then there is submit support ticket right here, which when clicked will take you to this ticket form where all of the actions will take place. Now, when you submit a ticket, it is going to send out a bunch of emails. And technically, you can reply to the emails to handle the ticket. So if we ask you a question, you'll get the email. You can just reply to the email and it'll handle the ticket. And that's very convenient. It does make the agent's job harder because when the ticket comes back, it recapitulates the entire conversation that you've had about a ticket. So if it's a complex issue and you're on response 10 or 15, then when you respond, it sends back all 10 or 15 back and forth questions and responses and appends them all to the ticket. And the ticket gets longer and longer and longer. Our preference, though we recognize we're not your supervisor, we can't make you, our preference would be that you use the form and that you do your interactions on the form. This also will allow you to mark a ticket as solved if it's solved or what have you. So you can do it on the form. When are you going to open up this form and start filling out? Tech support is for when something is wrong with the product. Either the product is supposed to do X and does not, or the product is not supposed to do X and does. There is a technical issue with the product. It is not working as expected. Tech support is not for implementation assistance. certainly not the free tech support. It's not for implementation assistance. It's not to help troubleshoot some application that you've built. That's all custom implementation. Generally, not universally, but generally, if your question starts off with, how do I, then it's probably not a tech support question. You're asking a training question. You want to do something, you don't know how to do it, and you want to know how to do it. We have a couple of different avenues to help you with those type of questions. First, there's the 15 for Friday. All of our implementers have a 15 for Friday calendar, and you can go to, we have it set up in Calendly, and on the front page of the documentation website, I believe there is a link to that Calendly calendar. Let me go back to Doc. Training Hub. There you go, right here. Schedule a 15 for Friday session. And you can pop that open and it will create a calendar screen for you. And you can talk to an implementer. You can set up a 15-minute session on Fridays with one or more of our implementers. You can pick the time that you're free. I think you can even pick the implementer in some cases. In any event, this is all done through Calendly. You can talk directly to one of our implementers and you can ask them all the how do I questions that you can in a 15-minute period. You can set up one for every Friday and just ask questions of an implementer. That's free. It doesn't cost you anything. And you can set up one per Friday and talk to an implementer for 15 minutes about any implementation-based questions that you have. Beyond that, if you need help with something that you're building or something that you have built, and you've gotten yourself in a point where I don't know why this email template section isn't displaying, because I have conditions and it doesn't, I don't think it's meeting, I think it should be meeting the conditions, but it's not meeting the conditions. That's an implementation question. We might be able to help you with that on a 15 for Friday. It might be more complex than that, in which case you're going to need to request direct assistance. And we'll take a look. We'll see how many direct assistance hours that you have, and we'll provide you with that help. But that would be a paid direct assistance engagement. So once again, tech support is there's a problem with Process Director. Implementation is there's a problem with a thing I've built. Those are two separate issues. One gets free tech support. One is either a 15 for Friday or a DA request. Now, if you want to do DA, you can schedule that through your BPLogix account representatives. So you can call Sarah or Andrew or Connor or whoever, and you can say, hey, I need some DA. Can you set it up? And your account rep will set up a DA session with you. Alternatively, you can submit a tech support request and say, I've got this application I'm working on. It's not working the way I want it to work. I need somebody to help troubleshoot it. Please schedule some DA for me. If you do that, then whoever the tech support rep is who handles your ticket will either just accept your DA request, because I don't do DA. So if I'm not the one who's answering it, if I'm the one who's answering it, I will send it off to one of the implementers and we rotate through who will take DA. If somebody else is handling your ticket, it's probably an implementer, and they'll probably just accept your DA request and go from there. But yes, you can submit a tech support ticket to request DA. There's no problem with that. You can do that through tech support, or you can contact your account representative. So the support ticket form, we just need you to type in the subject, the description, and then the severity of the issue. Let's talk about severity levels so that we're all clear on what they mean. Production unusable or unavailable. That is our highest severity level. And it means exactly what it says. Your production server is inaccessible. Either you log in and nothing happens and it spins forever, or you can't log in, or you try to log in and it says that server doesn't exist, or, HTTP 500 error, whatever it may be. This severity level means that my production system, and I stress my production system, is inaccessible to my users. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that happens behind the scenes here at here at BP Logix if you use that, because the engineering team is going to be immediately notified. I'm going to be immediately notified. My boss is going to be immediately notified. So, and my boss is on the executive team. So that probably means that the CEO is going to know as well. And of course, the services team lead is also going to be notified. This is going to tell everybody in the company, from engineering to services to product and senior management, that your system is down. And it is going to invoke many actions and much interest inside BP Logix for figuring out why your production system is down. If we open your tech support ticket and it says, yes, this process isn't doing what I would like it to do, we're never going to say anything and we're never going to hold it against you, but many people will be irked at getting a 6 a.m. message that your production server is down when it is not, in fact, down. So this is only for your production server being down. If your dev system is inaccessible, it's not production, unusable, or unavailable. There's only one reason why you should ever choose this, and that is because your production system is actually not working. Now it gets a little squishy. There's non-fatal production impact. That means that you have a material impact on your production operations. So let's say that you have a specific process, a major process that many people use. Leave request. I don't know. It's just down. It's not working. Nobody can request leave anywhere in the organization. You have 10,000 employees that can no longer ask for leave or whatever it may be. They can't get reimbursements. They can't submit travel vouchers. Okay, fine. That is probably a non-fatal production impact. Your system is still up. People can access the system, but an important part of the system is not working as expected. People can't submit an important form. The process just stalls out. All of my processes are in error, whatever it may be. Okay, great. That's non-fatal production impact, but it's serious. Then you have minimal production impact. Minimal production impact is, I have 100 form instances. 99 of them work great. One is all messed up. Okay, I can see where that might be a little irritating, but it's one form instance out of 100. It doesn't indicate that something is fundamentally wrong with your process or with process director. Probably means somebody made a mistake on that form, or somebody did something they weren't supposed to, and we got to fix that one form instance. It doesn't mean your entire system is affected. That's a minimal production impact. A specific process instance goes wonky. Most of them are fine, but this one is bad. Okay, let's look at that one. But in the greater scheme of things, it's not that serious of an issue because everything else on the system is largely running well. Then we have enhancement request. There's no problem. You just want the product to do something that's not built into it yet. So you want a new feature. In fact, we had someone submit a tech support ticket for a new feature for the goal system variable. Right now, the goal system variable just simply returns whatever the current value of the goal is. And they were like, well, you know what I'd like to see? Since we're storing it on the goal definition page, I'd like to see what the previous value was. I'd like to see when the previous evaluation was. I'd like to see when the current evaluation was conducted. So I'd like formatters on the goal system variable to not just return the result, but to allow me to format it to return either the previous result, previous evaluation, or the current evaluation time. That sounds like a great idea. It's probably something we can also do pretty darn quick. So yeah, great. That's an enhancement request. Then we come to informational. If your development or staging system is down, that is an informational ticket. It is not in your production environment. And so because it's not production, see, this is so hard because I have to be more tactful than I usually have the ability to be. So let's talk about SLA. Let's talk about our obligations to you as far as issues on your production server goes. These severities impose upon us the contractual obligation to respond within a certain time frame. So if it is production unusable or unavailable, someone needs to be talking to you in less than 2 hours. If it's non-fatal production impact, someone needs to be talking to you in less than 4 hours. If it is minimal production impact, someone needs to be talking to you within 8 business hours. And all of these, by the way, are business hours technically. But it's 2, 4, or 8 hours. Somebody needs to be in touch with you. And every time that you submit a ticket with one of these 3 severities, that countdown timer for our SLA starts ticking. However, these SLA requirements that are imposed upon us contractually, they're an obligation that we make to you willingly in your SLA, your service level agreement. They apply only to production issues. Any issues with dev or staging are informational. They do not impact your production operations. Now, as I always say, I'm not your supervisor. I can't make you do this. If you say my dev system is down and I'm going to want to submit it as production unusable or unavailable, I'm going to do so. Sure, that's fine. However, we do reserve the right to unilaterally change the SLA level that you have selected for your severity based on the actual issue. So I generally make a practice whenever I do that to inform you that I have reduced the severity level and why. And all of our other support agents should do that as well. But if your issue does not match the requirements of the SLA to which your organization and ours have agreed, which apply solely to production issues, then we will change the severity to the one that is appropriate to the issue that you're reporting. Because if we breach the SLA, that is going to go to BP Logix management, and they're going to get a notice that we have breached SLA 1, production unavailable, SLA 2, or SLA 3. And senior management is going to know that that SLA has been breached. They're going to know what support tech breached that SLA, and whatever internal actions are appropriate for that will be implemented. So it's important that the severity matches whatever it is that you submit as far as what you say the level of severity of your issue happens to be. So please choose the correct level of severity. Now, because of all this SLA stuff, that also means that we can't keep tickets in our queue. So I'm going to do this. I'm not sure how much of this I want to show you. Okay, great. So there there are no current support tickets in my queue. All right, I'm a happy camper. All right, so let's take a look at a support ticket. In fact, uh, is there a test ticket in this system? Because I'd rather use that. Okay, so here's test 3392. So this should be a test ticket. Okay, this is a test ticket. Now, this ticket happens to be closed. Whenever I get a ticket, oh, you know what? I'll just create a new ticket. So we will call this subject. Now I'm an agent, so I can do it here. Test ticket for, in fact, I'm not going to do it here. No, no, no. I'm going to do what I should have done back over here in guide. I'm going to submit a support ticket from here. It's going to come from me, so this will be fine. So test ticket for webinar. Great. Description. This is a test ticket. It's for the webinar. And I am now going to say that this is an informational ticket. It doesn't, at this point, it doesn't matter, but as long as I pick informational, it's not going to impose an SLA timer on me for not responding. And let's pick my process director version. So let's say it's 6.1.202. I don't have any attachments to add, although I certainly could if I wanted to. And now I'm going to submit this tech support ticket. All right, so now this is what the form looks like. So it tells me what my status is. The current status is open. And this ticket should now be in the queue. It gives me all of my information. And now we are waiting for someone to get back to us with our ticket. There are some other things that we can do. We can see some other tickets here that might be related. We can see who is following or what articles we're following on the system. Again, this is just general stuff that we have added to the system as end users. Obviously, my contributions will largely outweigh most of yours, but this is the request is where we need to stay. And we can now have replies and we can add to this conversation. Now, from my point of view, I see a new ticket. So if it is in new or open status and the severity level has been set to the appropriate level, tick tock, I'm now on the clock for responding, which means I can't just leave this ticket in my queue because an SLA timer is running. And when that SLA timer runs out, Zendesk is going to start sending out notifications that I'm slacking and that I'm not meeting my SLA requirements. So we occasionally get people who say, can you just, I don't want to see this ticket in my queue. Can you hold the ticket in your queue? No, we cannot. Because in most cases, unless it is informational, there's going to be an SLA timer running against it. You can keep queues in your ticket or you can keep tickets in your queue for as long as you want. There are some limits to that, but generally nobody is hounding you for a response. Inside BP-Logix, we are being hounded for a response. I'm going to get notified if any of the tech support agents are within 1 hour of breaching SLA. So I get a warning just to be able to go and tell that agent, hey, you're about to breach the SLA. You have to respond. I believe also the implementation team lead also gets that same notification that one of their team members is about to breach the SLA. So we can't hold them in our queues, but you can hold them in your queue with a couple of caveats. Let's talk about statuses that you're going to see. Now, this ticket is a new ticket. New tickets and open tickets are the same thing. The only difference between new and open is that if it's a new ticket, there's been no action taken on it at all. An open ticket and a new ticket as well are tickets that are in the support queue. So as long as they're in the support queue, SLA timers are ticking and talking. So I'm going to respond to this ticket saying, sorry, we fix. And now I'm going to submit this ticket, and I'm going to submit it as pending. Pending means that it's sitting in your queue, and now you have to respond. And once it is in your queue, and let's go back and see what you'll see. Sorry, we fix. I didn't spell fix. Now, because it's in pending status, it will say awaiting your reply. You have 10 days to reply. If you don't reply within 10 days, you're going to get a warning message that says, hey, you're just letting this ticket sit in your queue. What's your deal? And you have to decide what you want to do. Now, you can reply and say, hey, I'm getting a notice that this ticket is expiring, so I'm sending it back to you. And what I'm going to do is say, thanks, I'm sending it back to you so you can hold it in your queue. And you have to go through this every 10 days if you want to keep it open for that long. And we have customers that do. We can't keep it in our queue. You have to keep it in your queue. But what's going to happen is every 10 days, it's going to say, hey, is this thing ready to solve? And let's talk about solved. So I'm going to respond again. And so now I can go back here. And the client says it has to be fixed. And ultimately, I say, we fixed it. And now I'm going to submit the ticket, but now it's done. Now, I'm not going to do this generally until you tell me it's okay to solve the ticket or until it's clear to me from the context that you're no longer interested in the ticket and we're done with our interaction. So now I can mark the ticket as solved. I generally wouldn't do this with a we fix reply. I would generally wait until you got back to me with, yes, fix good. But I'm going to go ahead and mark this as solved. Solved is not closed. So did I submit it as solved? Okay. Oh, I have to do something over here. I need to fill out some stuff here. And root cause, I am just going to put Zendesk admin as my root cause there. That seems to be the right thing. Now I can solve it. I have to fill in some information on my side to solve a ticket. So now I can mark it as solved. Now the ticket is marked as solved. I see it as solved here in my test ticket. I'm going to go ahead and close that tab and that tab. So we're saying one thing at a time. We can come back over here. We can look at our form. We fixed. Okay, great. Ticket is now marked as solved. I can still respond. Just because this ticket is marked as solved doesn't mean that I have to accept that as a customer. I can always reopen a ticket. If I reply, it's automatically going to reopen this ticket. So I'm going to submit that response. So on my side, I'm going to see not fixed. I probably shouldn't have hit that refresh, huh? I'm going to see that fixed. And I'm either going to resubmit it to you as pending, or I'm going to resubmit it. Pending means it just goes back in your queue. The ticket is alive again, and pending, or I can resubmit it as solved. It doesn't matter. This ticket is still alive. A ticket can stay in solved status for 2 weeks. And at the end of that 2 weeks, the ticket then becomes closed. And once that ticket is closed, we can't do anything with it. Now, I don't have an old closed ticket, unfortunately. So we're just going to submit this one as solved. And we're going to go back and do a search, and we're going to grab that old ticket from Chris's. So we'll go with test. And see, that was from a permanently deleted user. So let's go with Chris. We disabled him, but we didn't delete him. Okay, great. This ticket is closed. I can't do anything with it. I can't reopen it. I can't close a ticket manually as a support rep. The system automatically marks solved tickets as closed after 2 weeks. I can't go back and unclose them. I have no access to closing. There's no human action for closing. So if I have a ticket that has been marked as solved and it's closed, and then in the future, there's a similar issue that you want to reference the original issue, or the original issue has, cropped up again, whatever the issue may be, then you can reopen that old ticket. Now, I can't show you how to do it here because, well, this is the first time I've ever actually submitted a tech support ticket via the support portal. So I don't have a closed ticket. But you get a similar option on the ticket form to create a follow-up ticket. And that's the only thing that you can do with a closed ticket is create a follow-up. But when you create a follow-up, it's going to give me a retest, which tells me it's from that previous one. And I'm going to say retesting for this one. And I'm going to submit that ticket as new. And, oh, well, it's not doing it for me because Chris is suspended. So Chris is suspended. He can't submit tickets anymore, and I can't submit tickets on his behalf. But that's the process. I can just go ahead and submit that ticket. Okay, so we have some Q&As here. Okay, but it's labeled submit a request and not submit a technical support issue. So, of course, we get confused on how to engage BP staff properly. Okay, I apologize. I think that places a lot of weight on the verbiage because we don't call it we do call it a tech support issue, but generally we call it a support request or a support ticket. There's a lot of different verbiage that you could use there that means the same thing, but if that is a particular issue, don't worry, I can change that button. In fact, I am gonna, since I have Obsidian open, I am going to just create a little task on my little quick notes page to change. Let's see, what's the syntax that I have to use? Hold on. Okay, it is dash space, and then I have to put square bracket, space, square bracket, change verbiage on tech support form. I may make other changes to that form to make it clearer, but okay. I now have a task to make that change. So in the near future, it will no longer say submit a request. It will be a little more explicit. If that's the problem and that verbiage is holding carrying a lot of weight, we'll change that verbiage. Dev environments are an implementer's production environment. Nope, they're not. They're a development environment. They're always a development environment. Implementers just happen to work in the development environment. You have one production environment, and that is the environment that your normal end users use. Production issues are informational or I'm sorry, development or staging server issues are informational tickets. They do not affect your production environment. And so dev environments are not your implementer's production environment. It's not a production environment at all. Your implementers work in the development environment. I understand that your implementers want a quick fix if something goes wrong, but production issues that affect all of the end users are always going to be more highly prioritized than development or staging issues that only affect a small group of implementers. The priority always has to be on whether end users can effectively access or use the system. And so whenever it comes to our service level agreements, our service level agreements obligate us to prioritize production environments before we do things on development environments. So I understand that if you're an implementer, the development environment is important to you, but it's not a production environment. So that's just the agreement that our organization and your organization have made, that your production environment is the priority environment for tech support, not development environments. I've got a question from Karen Duncan, which I am going to answer live because you're getting ahead of me. And I am going to get to the answer to your question as part of my planned presentation. So, Karen, I'll get to your question in just a moment. All right, finally, while not a support issue, do please use this form, your support form. Use that whenever you need to add a new user to the system. You can't, you can do it through your account rep. And your account rep will then tell me, and I'll have to do it anyway. So it's probably easier rather than going through your account rep if you just submit a tech support ticket to add a new user to Zendesk. So you hired somebody new, you want to add them to Zendesk, fine, that's great. You can just submit a tech support ticket to do that. And you can add that new user to Zendesk. Or well, you can't, I will. I only need two things from you. I need the user's first and last name, and I need their email address. Those are the only two things I need. I will create a new account with that name and email address, and after that, Zendesk handles everything else. Once I add the user, Zendesk will send them an email to enable them to complete registration for their account. They will be able to provision their own account then, make whatever changes they feel are necessary to their user profile and whatnot. And then they'll be able to begin using the system. So just submit a tech support ticket, say, got a new user. This is their first and last name. This is their email address. Please add them to the system. And I'll probably have that done in a couple of minutes, and they'll have their email 5-10 minutes later. So that's a simple fix. As I said, assuming that you're logged into Zendesk, there's a whole bunch of other things that you're going to see. Now, on the front page, there are some important announcements. These are announcements that I've generally promoted to the front page. That's why they show up there. And of course, below that, there's also the custom GPT thing as well. But there is an announcement section. So you can actually go to that announcement section, and it shows you all of the announcements that we've created on the system, all of the little articles. Some of these, of course, as you go back further in time, are obviously going to be outdated, but you can always find all of the announcements. That's wrong. That's way outdated. Perhaps we shouldn't be making those sort of, and I know that I did this. No, maybe Phil did this. Okay, I don't know what the text of this page said, but now I got to fix that page too. So while we're looking at things, change text on announcements page. Okay, great. I've got all sorts of little things to do. There is a frequently asked question page as well. It's not very big. It's just got a couple of frequently asked questions, basically about how to use Zendesk in most cases. There's a webinars page, which gives us the schedule of all the webinars that are showing up and links to register for both the training and Feature Spotlight webinar. By the way, if you don't show up at the Feature Spotlight webinar, you are missing a lot of things about what we're doing with the product, because I think I do keep you pretty well updated on a month-to-month basis about where we are on the product roadmap and things that we're fixing and new features that we're adding. So, if you're coming to this webinar, I don't understand why you're not coming to the Spotlight webinar, but you can register for that Spotlight webinar right here on this page as well. And now we get to the community. We would love you to participate in our community, because we have a forum. Look, there are topics and everything. And each topic has posts. And look, we feature some posts to make them more important so that people can see them. We would like you to use this, but you don't. And it would be great if we could have a community forum where users can help other users and spread ideas or ask for feature requests or what have you. We'd like it to be more active, but that's up to you, because this is a community forum, not an internal BP Logix forum. We have our own forum for that. It's called Slack. And we use that for all kinds of stuff. I would personally love to be able to follow and interact with you on this forum, and it's just not getting a lot of use. Basically, the idea share and the technical discussions are the only ones that have really gotten a lot of use. But let's see, 20 days ago, and then the last post was a year ago. So it's there. Tell your people about it. Tell people to use it. Once people start using it, it becomes useful. If nobody uses it, it's obviously not useful. We would like it to be useful, but this is your forum, not ours. So we can't really make you participate. We'd be happy to participate with you and to look at it. As you can see, Francis goes in and tries to find things to interact with people with. I go in and look, but if you're making a post every 6 months, it's just going to be kind of a dead forum. We'd like it to be less dead, but the responsibility for making it so is unfortunately yours and not ours. Well, that concludes the prepared portion that I had for today. I thought it would take a little bit more time to get through all of this. I was afraid that I was being a little overly ambitious on my plan for today, but it looks like it was more or less correct. Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate it, as always. I'll look forward to speaking with you next week, where we will actually be going into the online form designer and looking at all of the controls and providing you with a brief explanation of what they do. It's just going to be an overview. There are a lot of controls, so it's not really going to be possible for me to manually create and demonstrate every control that exists in the product for you, but we will go through them and we will talk about the controls and also about the form control tags as well, because there's at least one very common case where the UI control you never want to use, you have to use the form control tag. We'll talk about all of that next week. Doesn't look like there are any questions, so I'm going to say goodbye, and we'll talk to you next time. So long.